And good morning, folks. This is a Rowney TV special. We've got a 10-day course for you with our coach, John Tinsley. And good morning, John. Nice to see you.
Hello, mate. How are you? You okay?
Well, I'm good. I mean, it's been quite a change in the media last week with Piers walking out. I'm no Susanna Reid, but you can kind of make it up in a different form for our breakfast entertainment.
Right. I wonder where that was going.
So tell me, we're going to do a 10-day course, and these will be short 20-minute lessons or so, half eight.
Yeah.
This is about improving your game. We're under lockdown measures at the moment, so a lot of us are playing golf on our own in solos or with members of your household, so it just gives that time to work on a few of the basics. So we're going to lead you through it, aren't we? Okay?
Well, we're going to give it a go here, Jed. And so 20 minutes isn't long. We're going to cover 3 issues this morning, so 5 minutes apiece in round figures. And before I start, just let me qualify a couple of things. I'm not going to try and tell anybody how to do this, because we're all different shapes, different sizes, different heights. But there are a few things as we start here that become obvious that we have to try and find before we're able to consistently deliver the club to the ball. And so the first one of those is stability. There are 2 types of stability. That's static stability and dynamic stability. And if you look at somebody 6'4" or 5'2", they're going to stand differently. But everybody has to be able to be comfortable in their own body position in order to be consistent in the way that they deliver the club. So the way that I would look at this is to get something set up is this, because everybody has a natural position to set up. So if you were to imagine that somebody was running at you and you were going to try and stop them. It's like a game of dodgeball or tick or something. You're going to go past you. What I would do is I would take up a stance where you're comfortable, where you were solid in the ground, and I would go into that position so that I was going to be able to catch them. They were coming at me and I wouldn't be able to be knocked over. And if I do that and then put my hands down here, that automatically gives me the position that I want to be in to be statically stable. If I'm too narrow, I'm going to get knocked over. If my weight is on my heels, I'm going to get knocked back. If I'm over here, I can't do anything and I'm going to topple. So our body has a position that we can take up here, which is solid, and there's your driver stance. So it's just imagine somebody running at you, take up a stance to do there, let your hands hang, and there's your stance. If it was a little kid that was running at you, you're going to pick them up, you'd probably go like this. And there's your wedge stance. So if you go from a driver stance to a wedge stance, depending on who's running at you. So we all have that ability to create a body position which is comfortable for us to be solid and static in the ground. And we have to have that base, otherwise we'll topple over and we won't be able to deliver the club. So that's the first thing on stability. Just find your position like this. Imagine something. Now you can all do this at home as well, by the way, of course. You don't need to get your set up, you can put a club in your hand or whatever, you can all do that. Just remind yourself every day if you want, if you're beginning at the beginner of the game. So the next thing that we do, what's the next thing on the list we've got, Leanne? Turn. Turn to
me. Just hang on a minute, John. I always have this thing about, shoulder width apart for my feet. What does that come into this?
Well, look, if I go and stand like that, and I'm going to catch this person, I'm pretty much shoulder width apart. Now, when I started to play, the clubs were a lot heavier, so you used to be a lot wider because you needed that width to give you more stability because the clubs are heavy to deliver. They're nowhere near as heavy now, particularly with the driver. So I don't look at shoulder width at all. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Right, so it's more of a natural position.
Natural position where, if you're going to hit a baseball, you take a natural position, wouldn't you? You wouldn't turn around and say, get your feet shut. You just get natural position where you feel you can get that rotation. If you have too much width means you can't rotate, limits the rotation on your hips. So it's a natural position to stand where you're stable, okay?
Well, just hang on a minute. We've got a lot of viewers tuning in today. That is fantastic. If you've got anything to say, just put any remarks in the comments box. We'll try and answer some questions later. But just remember that. How many people have been teaching golf and saying stand shoulder width apart with your feet? How about that? How much wrong have we inflicted on new golfers?
Well, it's got the best intentions, and I can absolutely guarantee that every single golf coach, myself included, has been guilty of that. Absolutely, everyone. But it's not a prescriptive thing. It's no one size fits all. So a natural, stable position, your weight is there, your body's in that position, there it is. And one of the things then that happens is if you get that stability, it allows you to turn with a lot more confidence. And turn is the one thing I think that we lose or we lack. When we start, we lack it. When we get older, we lose it. And when we lose the turn, we lose club head speed and we lose distance. And we start hitting at the ball. So turn is a very, very important thing. Now, the rule book says, the Bible says, the coaching manual says, it's 90 degrees with the shoulders, it's 45 degrees with the hips, it's 22 with the knees, and there's the perfect swing. Well, we're not all perfect. We don't have hour after hour on the range. We don't go to the gym every day or whatever, but we can improve our flexibility and improve our turn. And I guarantee if you improve your flexibility, you will improve your club head speed, you will deliver the ball further. However, when we talk about turn, there is a natural turn that we all have. Now, so what you do for a natural turn is this. You take up your position as I've just described. And as you're in that position, somebody behind you shouts your name and you turn around to take a look. And it's right behind you and you turn around as far as you can, you take a look at that person. You bring your head back, you keep your turn. You then put your right hand up as if you're going to throw something or you have an umbrella up there. That's your right hand. And then what you do is you move your left arm to the right hand. You won't be able to reach it. You bring your right hand down, and there is your natural turn. Now your natural, so it's that, arm up, bring your hand down, and that's your natural turn. And there's how you find how you turn. Now the issue on the turn is when you see people on the tee or on the range, what they do is they get the club, and they get there and they go whoosh, whoosh, and then they go to the ball. What I'm suggesting you do is on every single rehearsal shot you have, you go to your natural turn position. So you get your club, you're there, and you turn, and you feel you've got your turn, and you let you go. Now, when you turn with a driver, obviously, it's more turn than you need than you have with a wedge. So your stability changes because the turn is less with the wedge. You don't need your feet so wide. Now, when we bring in stability into this, and come back to that stable thing, we talk about dynamic stability. So when you turn there, so you look behind, that's somebody's checked your name, you lift your hand up because that's where the umbrella is, or you're going to throw something, you bring your arm up, you're there. Now, from here, what we want to do is incorporate a dynamic stability. So you have in your rehearsal, in your kitchen, you can put it in a mirror, you can have it in your garden, on a point on the wall. You're there, you keep looking at that point, you turn, and you stay looking at the point, and you finish the shot. And that creates this dynamic stability through the ball from a natural turn here. I've always advocated that it's okay for a professional to get to this position where he's parallel to the ground or whatever. That's another great one. I don't advocate that at all. From here, from this position here, I don't know if you can see that, when it goes to parallel up here, there's an awful lot of temptation to throw the club and to cast it. For me, there's enough. Hands at that height's enough. Look at Ram. Hands there are enough. Right now he's a bit quicker, I guess, but his width out here is fantastic. So your turn is not about just here. It's about the width you create out there. Then you'll be able to come into the ball with this stability, dynamic stability, keeping this focus point here on your rehearsal in your kitchen, and feeling that you're able to turn both ways and open out to target.
Can I ask a question, John, about that? Okay, so over the years we've all admired and watched the professionals on TV, and straight away I go to John Daly.
Yeah.
How can you explain his turn?
I don't want to.
Because the reason why is that I overswing. Anyone that plays golf with me knows that I overcook it on the horizontal, and I've been hung up about this for years, John. I think, I keep going over, and it kind of works for me, and I think it works for other players as well.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question, Jed. Are you still you say you go past you overswing, you overturn, whatever. Do you make a consistent strike, and is your strike currently the best it's ever been?
Yes.
why are you wanting to change it then?
Exactly. And this is it. I've got to throw the textbook in the bin. You mentioned before about 90-degree angles, 45-degree angles. We've all read this, and it's totally bemusing and confusing.
Well, look, are you going to go to your swing and say, right, have I turned 90 degrees or is it 75? Oh, God, it's not 90. Oh, I better go a bit more. You can't do that. Just turn whatever's natural. I've got a mate of mine who might be on our Zoom call later on, Dave Shepherd, his name is. He was really struggling for length. He plays off 4 or 5. He went on, put himself on a course of flexibility and strength building and whatever. His turn went from about 73 degrees to 92 degrees, and he's 66 years of age.
So there's something about this that scares me. Okay,
right.
That I think really those of us who are of a certain age aren't as flexible as what they were. And really, John, the message is that I'm getting is that we need to perhaps do some stretching, use a Swiss ball, and
absolutely,
kind of
absolutely incredible. Why wouldn't you? It improves the quality of your golf, and it certainly improves the quality of your life. Right, we lose flexibility and stability are the two main things that we start off in terms of golf improvement. Right, you can talk about buying a driver that's 500 quid, 450 quid, and you think you're going to get a low more distance. You're going to get about 3 yards, 5 yards. If you improve your stability and you improve your flexibility, I'm telling you, you're going to get 20 yards, and it's going to cost you nothing.
I know. And for us pot-bellied golfers, I think we've got to bite the bullet. I know it. It's just laziness. I don't do it. But I know I've got to do it. I've got to do it.
It's 5 minutes a day. But when we talk about this stability and we talk about this turn, you can have a point. You can have a point on the mirror, a point on the wall. If you're outside and you've got a shadow, it's a great thing to do. Is you can put a ball on the ground, get your shadow to put your head so the ball's in the middle of your head. And there you can turn and keep the ball in the middle of your head as you're turning on the ground in the shadow. That's it, yeah. So you just look at your shadow and feel your turn, and away you go. And what you find you'll do with that is you'll find that you'll attach what we call your centre of gravity, which is 2 inches below your navel, to a point in here. And that's really got to stay there. This is what the stability is all about. You cannot build a house from a bad base, but it's not prescriptive. Okay? Does that make sense to you?
That makes perfect sense, and obviously up in Ramsey with the sunshine evermore, it'll be in full flow there today.
Yeah. Well, I do like that one. I do like that one with the shadow when you get a sunny day. When we do get it, we could have done it yesterday. Get a shadow, put a ball down, move yourself into position, put the ball in the middle of your head, take up your stance, as we said, look at the ball and swing and keep the ball there. It's a great way of keeping your static, your stability through a dynamic movement, a powerful movement. Okay?
Okay. So the next stage, we're talking about hold, turn and hold.
All right, hold. Right, 3 different types of hold, and none of them are wrong. When you see a little kid take up a club, he usually takes it up like that with his hands like this. Now, to have consistent delivery of the club face to ball, I would suggest that it's common sense, and the body will know, and the mind will know, that the more you can bring your hands together, the better it will be. And what involved in that was your hands working together with either an interlocking grip or an overlapping grip, and that's fine. But in the club, we have a lot of ex-lady hockey players, and they do struggle. And it does feel uncomfortable for a while for this. I have no problem in people having their hands apart. If that's what works, that's what works. But all we're doing here is to be able to find a way of delivering this club head. Now, by the way, this is a little 1870s little hickory. Look at the shape of that. Deliver that little thing to the ball consistently. So what we're going to do is this. I want you to take the club and point it so, if you're right-handed, that the toe of the club is pointing that back behind you. Now, holding it horizontally, put your right hand on it and put it in a position so it's over the top of the club like that, and ask yourself, are you able to deliver that club to a nail here, and you're going to knock the nail in and you're going to drive it in like that, and then put it underneath and see if you've got any power and control over that club head. And then if you put it in a position, find a position where you really feel that you've got control of that hammer there, that you this is a hammer, and hitting it into that nail. Look at the shape of the wrist on that. Now, if you take the left hand and do the same, if you put it underneath, you're not going to be able to deliver the club, the hammer. If you put it on the top, you're not going to be able to do it. There's a position here on that grip where you know that it's right and feels strong. Now, look at the left wrist when you do that.
Yeah. So
the left wrist is strong and it's flat when you do that. If you then put your right hand on it, the wrist is slightly kinked. Now, if I turn the club as it should be and do the same thing as if it's a hammer with my right hand, there it is. Do the same with my left. Look, it's a different movement with the left. The left wrist stays straight. Put my right hand on it, and the club is in position. It doesn't matter if it's like this, and it doesn't matter if it's overlapping, it doesn't matter if it's here. There is a position now that you can sense that works and that feels right. And there is my grip. There's my hold. Now, if I look at that hold, I see that my left wrist is straight and my right wrist is slightly cupped. And that's how I get to the ball at impact. Okay?
That's brilliant.
So it's all literally there. And as I get to impact, my right wrist will now extend. My left wrist is still flat, and I will go through the ball. So in terms of your hold, look at it as a hammer, turn the club round, get a strong, then turn it back, and do the same. Bring it back here. Now you can get down on the floor, and you're going to drive that nail that way. Right hand only. Turn the club round to be square to the ball. Put a ball back. Put a ball down. Imagine I've got a ball down on the floor now. Imagine that it's a nail. Right hand only. There it goes in. If I'm over the top too much, I cannot bring the club head to the ball. Underneath, I cannot bring it. There's no hold there at all. So I know where the hold is. When I put my left hand on it, I can do exactly the same. But look at the left arm position there with the right hold, and then that, and there it is. So we all know how to do it.
That is so enlightening. So knocking a nail. I think anyone who's watching this movie, this video, they'll be able to rewind and go through that again. That was a fabulous process on something that has just been simplified because we've all spent years tinkering around with a grip, haven't we?
Oh God, is my grip right? Well, you know, and there are certain things. I mean, the strong left-hand grip. I like that with the V there pointing to the shoulder and then the V.
2 knuckles,
but if you just,
3 knuckles.
Yeah, look. People say to me, "There's, you know, one of the, probably the best golfer in the club hasn't probably got the most conventional grip, has he?"
Exactly. I
hope
you're watching, Paul.
All that matters is that you can deliver the club into the ball.
Yeah.
First and foremost, square to ball target line.
Yeah.
It's all about getting this thing to the ball. You talk about how your hands are here, your turn is there. Every single professional golfer gets the club to the ball, square to target more often than we do.
Well, our club champion, for instance, I mean, Liam won't mind, you know, sharing that he's a reverse grip, which is highly unconventional in golf circles. But that's only because we've been taught to have it the other way around, a Varden, an interlocking, 2 knuckles showing, all that malarkey, and even the golf grips tell you, don't they, with the markings on the golf grips. Yeah,
look, so if we combine those 3 things, stability, natural position, there it is. You've turned, you've lifted, there's your turn. Now, on this position, I want to know that I've got control of this club head. That's what it's about. The club head at the ball determines the ball flight. The ball flight never lies. So you've got to have control over this. And to have control over that, it's a natural hold. So there it is. It's a hammer. I'm going into a lock. I went through a stage of overlap, and I had a big cut on my finger, and I couldn't overlap. So I interlocked, and I've stayed with it. It just feels better. So now I interlock. If I was in that position, I'd have no problem with that's where I want to be, that's where I want to be, as long as I can deliver it there. But look at the hand, even if it's apart, look at the wrist and look at the hand. That's the key. So just fight. So there it is, naturally there, naturally turn, natural hold, bring it through as a hammer, release to target.
Well,
that's it. There's nothing prescriptive at all.
I'm sure there's a lot of our golfers out there who are just mulling this over with the cornflakes and just thinking, how many times in a round of golf are they thinking about the grip, adjusting it? Because even during a round, the grip changes, doesn't it? It changes probably for your drive, maybe for your wedge. It's sometimes you've got to kind of adapt.
Well, does it change? Or does your stance change and your turn change?
I think it's going to be worth considering. Now, we've only got a minute to go on our little soiree this morning. John, could you wrap this up in a few easy words?
Yeah, well, we're in lockdown. It doesn't mean to say that we're in shutdown in terms of golf. You can get into your garden, into your yard. You can be in your lounge. You can be in your kitchen, and you can work through what is comfortable with you for where you've got your stability and your centre of gravity. And you can do that in your kitchen, your lounge, or whatever. You can take up your turn. You can do this at home. You can get into that position. You can do it with with arms across your shoulders, and you can turn. And you can feel that you're stable. You can have a point on the wall. You can practice that. You can get live every morning. Get up and do 5 minutes of stretching exercise. You go online and see them. You can get in touch with me. I could give you some from the Czech Institute stuff. You can get there and you can turn and you can feel. You can hold a hammer. You can make a hammer shaft with a shaft. You can get a club and you can do it. You can practice all these things and you can get comfortable in your own body in doing it. That's the key. You are not going to deliver the club consistently if you are not comfortable with the way that you are and the way it feels to you. I will argue this, though, in terms of textbook, if you like. Nothing can be built on an unstable foundation. So stability is the starting point. That's why we started with it this week. Getting that stability through the shot, holding your stability, not losing your awareness of this body space here because you're falling off and trying to hit it and all of it. Just be comfortable and relaxed in that hold, in the turn, wherever it is, and getting through the ball. Okay?
Lovely. We've got some comments just flying into the box. I'll just run through them. So we've got Phil Hassel, who I think is the newly installed godfather stroke president of Isle of Man Golf, and he's saying, thank you, so much happier with my short hockey swing as it works. That's good. We've got Pam, who says so much common sense from John, and we've got the man himself. We've got Paul Lowy. Here we go. Here we go. Right, here he is. So Paul Lowy, 20 times major winner, Ireland champion extraordinaire, and possibly the fastest swing speed on the Isle of Man. Great to see that you're watching, Paul. Big contributor to golf. Believe it or not, I regrip at the top of the swing. So if you pause a video of me, my grip is actually near normal at impact. So can you send the video in, Paul, for this week? Yeah. We want to see that.
Yeah, and that's great. And my response is, and that's what's normal for Paul. And it's how you get back to the ball. And I've got a video here. I just shot it that came through from a WhatsApp group I'm in with Kendall and Paul Eales and all sorts of people. And this guy's a Canadian hockey player. He's holding the club like that. It's a big driver. The club face is open like here. He's out here. He gets on the tee and he gets in that and he's in this position. And crud almighty, he whacks the ball off this tee and he does it time after time after time. And it works for him. I'm not so sure how he is with a wedge in his hand like that.
I've got to see that. I think it's time, though. I think it's time to defy convention. Many of us of that certain age, we've grown up with golf magazines, which is the same thing. Like your glossy magazine, the adverts are beautiful. All Callaway, Ping, and Titleist and Mizuno, gorgeous. And then you'd come to the instruction, and you'd have this like geometrically perfect, subject, and that's what you tried to replicate.
Yeah, well, look, we're human. We're different. We don't have the time and inclination or whatever to put the effort into developing all these things. But you know what? Every one of the tour pros is different. Everyone, and every swing they ever make is different. So just finding what the body wants to do to allow you to deliver it is what the key is. Now, of course, there's certain things you can do to improve the club head speed and all the rest of it. But generally speaking, it's not buying a £450 driver.
Okay, well, tomorrow we've got the club face and delivery, and the ball flight never lies. And this is tomorrow's session, so we'll tune in again at 8:30.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Anybody got any questions, they can come back to me anytime. It's not a problem.
Oh, that was fantastic, John, and thank you so much for everyone for taking part. We had a good following there. So please share, tell your golfing friends, get them online tomorrow, ask some more questions. We've got another 9 days to go. It's tough being in lockdown fever. And just remember...
Hey, Jed, like a bloody marathon, mate.
Just remember, Piers Morgan is off GMTV. Rowney TV has got John Tinsley. I'm no Susanna Reid.